All right, y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more, I guess we'll call this predator patterning. This is something a little bit different and something new that I found recently, and I'm really curious to see how it actually performs. And is it kind of a gimmicky load, or is it actually a legit performer? But for the shell I've got out here today, I picked up some of these. These are some Hornady Heavy Magnum Coyote loads, and they are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1.5 ounce of nickel plated BB shot. So this is definitely going to be pretty interesting. And here's what the shells actually look like here, if I can get my glove out of the way. Nothing really too special to see. Looks pretty normal across the board here. Just a 3-inch normal shotgun shell. Nothing really too out of the ordinary. And I did forget to mention that the box does say on the side that it has some kind of what they call a Versatite wad in it, which I have no experience with. So I'm really curious to see what that Versatite wad actually looks like, and if it's something like a flight control wad or something like that. But as for the setup we're going to be running today, I've got my Remington 1187 back out here again with the stock modified choke in the gun. Now it does say on that box that it performs best with an improved cylinder or modified, and I typically like to go a little bit tighter so I can get a little bit more range. So for today's test, we're going to start with the modified choke. Now if you guys would like to see a kind of full run through test of those through everything from like a cylinder bore all the way up through a full and maybe even a turkey choke just because we can, then by all means let me know in the comments and we'll absolutely bring it out here and test it through the full range and see what chokes work and don't work with these loads. But for today, we're going to start off by shooting what the box tells us to use. So as for the test, we're going to kind of do it similar to the buckshot loads. I have the big piece of paper set up at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see what kind of speed we're running and how close it is to the 1300 feet per second that they say on the box. So we'll head up and get you guys a view of the chrono, since you really won't be able to see anything hitting the actual paper. And we'll shoot our shot, take a look at our chrono number, and then we'll go down range and actually see how they performed. Now I don't have a Coyote template, but we'll make some things work with some different templates that I already do have for a pattern and size kind of reference point. So let's head up here and shoot these things. See what these Hornady Heavy Magnum Coyote loads can actually do down at 40 yards. Alright, so as we can see, that round gave us 1168 through the chrono. The box is claiming 1300, so we're definitely not seeing what the box is calling for. Now 1168 for BBs, that's not too bad. It's definitely carrying a decent amount of energy downrange, especially since they are a lead BB load. So not too bad, but not what the box is calling for either. But how did they actually pattern down at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is the result that we got. Now for reference, the paper is 36 wide by roughly 36 inches tall, and the white dot was my point of aim there. So we definitely hit a touch to the left, I would say. But overall here, looking at it, that is pretty impressive for what I was kind of expecting here. That would absolutely take a coyote, a fox, a groundhog, raccoons, anything like that out to 40 yards. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And the pattern is pretty even as well. Even though we were a touch to the left over here, we really didn't see a ton of fires. There's one or two right there and another one or two down there. But most of our pattern is pretty circular right up here to the left side of this paper here. Definitely not bad at all, I wouldn't say. Now, I do have a couple templates, although they're not Coyote templates. We'll throw them up here anyway, just to get a little bit of reference and see how it performed. So let's start out with a 10-inch circle and kind of get an idea of maybe a vital sized area on a Coyote. How many pellets would we have within that? Alright, so now we have our 10-inch circle pinned up here with roughly where our point of aim was, and that gave us 10 pellets within a 10-inch circle right there. So if that was your vital kill zone area, you would have a good amount of pellets in that Coyote's vitals for sure. I definitely don't think he would have made it through that at all. And if we would have had that shot a little bit more centered up, it'd probably be a couple more than that. So overall here, not too bad at all. Now, as for the other template that I have, I brought out the hog template, although it's not an exact representation of a coyote, and I don't know that I would try to use, BB shot on a hog, personally anyway. We'll use that template as a rough, kind of sort of close size comparison, so we can see how it would have done on like a full body of an animal. So let's throw the hog template up and see what it looks like. Okay, so here's our hog template up here now, and for reference, we have his legs down at the bottom and his neck just starts off to the right side. Now this is probably a little bit bigger than what a coyote would be, but if we line our point of aim up there with right about where we'd want it to be, I mean, there is a ton of coverage of pellets within this vital area and all the way back through the body there. So no doubt in my mind that if that was a coyote or a fox or anything like that, there's no way he's making it through any of that. And I'm not even going to try and count how many pellets that is, but it's most of the pattern within that hog template there. So definitely pretty impressive looking in my book anyway to start out with. And we haven't even tested it through any other setups or chokes or anything like that yet. Okay, and here's that Versatite wad out of that shell. And right off the bat, I can tell you, this is nothing but a Federal Flight Control wad with Hornady's name put on it. It's literally the exact same thing. I don't have one here to compare side by side, but it's absolutely just the same thing as a Federal Flight Control wad, which is probably why we saw the pattern that we saw here today. These Flight Control wads seem to like a modified choke, and they have shown good performance for us in the past. So there's what our Versatite wad looks like, and definitely something pretty interesting to see. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance there? That was definitely a pretty interesting test and clearly a pretty good performance. There's not going to be a fox or coyote or groundhog or anything like that that's going to make it through that kind of pattern. Especially with lead BBs like that, you're going to be punching some decent energy down there as well. So definitely a pretty good looking start to a performance here for sure. And that was just through one setup, through one choke in one test. So after seeing this, I definitely think we should bring it out here and try it through some different chokes, maybe run it through and see everything from a cylinder bore all the way up through an extra full or something, and see what it likes, what it doesn't like, and how it performs. But if that's something you want to see, then by all means let me know and we'll bring it out here and test it, because I think that'd be pretty interesting. But as usual, leave your thoughts in the comments about it. Is that about what you expected, or were you a little bit surprised? And if you have tried these loads, what kind of experience have you gotten out of them, and how good have they performed for you as well? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I'm going to get back to testing for y'all, so stay tuned because we've got plenty more stuff coming. We do have a channel Instagram as well as a mailbox where you can send things to the channel now. So if you're interested in that information, I'll leave it all in the description for you. But on that note, I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.